All right, now joining us from Charlotte, North Carolina, we got starting quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, leading up to his Week 3 matchup with the New Orleans Saints. Big divisional game. Baker, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Doing good. How are you guys?
What do you think? Two tough losses, right? You've come back, tied the games, and then ultimately end up losing on last second field goals, essentially, right? So
Yeah.
moving into Week 3, we get divisional game, a little bit more juice. There's always more juice for a divisional game. What kind of approach are you guys taking into this week?
To be honest with you, we just haven't made the plays to win. Haven't put ourselves in a good enough position to where it's not, put the games away. We have to execute. You look back at the film and we continue to just make stupid little mistakes that are catching up to us at the end of the game. So for us, mentality wise, we're gonna have to obviously get to know this divisional opponent. For me, Dennis Allen creates his own sets of pressures and complications. So just get to know them. But then I think the most important thing this week is for us to just do our job at the highest level. There's no MAs. Make every play when we have our shots called, and just eliminate the negative ones, because that's what's coming back to bite us in the end.
I mean, but really, if you look at it, right, you try to draw strength from different things, but you lost 2 games by 5 points. That's what this league's about, right?
Yeah.
If you win those games and you feel better about it. I also think that people don't understand how hard it is to be with a new organization from your standpoint, to be with a new play caller, right? You guys are still figuring each other out. It wasn't like you had the luxury of a full off season. And that's not excuses. That's just the fact of the matter. And the teams that are trying to figure it out or figure it out now and don't panic, like that's so important. And I think your mentality of how you go about it is going to permeate throughout that locker room. And people are still getting to know you, let alone know Ben McAdoo and the X's and O's and the play call. It's hard to go on the road and win in this league. And you guys were in that football game. You could have won that football game. Do you take any solace in those type of things, those small victories, or at this point is it just strictly, hey, we have to win and we have to win now?
There's trying to draw a fine line of like, okay, there are the plays. We are that close. And so that's the positive attitude that we're trying to keep. But at the same time, you just got to make them. I think our guys have been so uptight that to be able to win those close games, you just have to make the normal plays. And we just haven't done that. So it's, finding the positive of that we are right there. Like you said, it's only 5 points in total of 2 games. So we're not that far off. We really aren't. But there's like simple missed assignments and errors that, we just have to fix. And so for me, that's like, get to know your opponent this week, but then also just be extremely critical of our guys about like them just doing everything right during the week of practice and talking through it if we're seeing different looks. But there is learning pains, and we knew that was going to happen. So like you said, winning would obviously alleviate all those pains, but it's at a point now where we're just like, okay, we're waiting for it to click. But
winning cures everything, right? I mean, that's what this league is based upon, and you can learn so much through winning. You don't have to lose to go through those growing pains, but I think there is still that acclimation phase, right? And how much involvement are you starting to get stuff implemented, knowing what you like in this offense? Because there's a different feel for it, right? Like you can run stuff in practice, you can run stuff on air and say, okay, I like this concept, or take some of the stuff you had from your past, either in college or with the Browns. Are you starting to find where you want this offense to go and the direction you want to take it?
Yeah, and that's definitely been the biggest part is we have a ton of plays in each week, and so just trying to narrow it down for Ben McAdoo is like which ones I really want to call when it comes down to it. When it's the third down that we have to have it. But yeah, I'm starting to get a feel of how he's calling the games, and he's likewise for how he's expecting me to do it. So it's coming along. I'm really not worried about it by any means. 0-2 is not the start we wanted, but when we click on offense, it's going to click pretty well, and we're right there. So just continuing to try different things out, and that's the great part that I do appreciate about McAdoo is he allows me in practice to try different things out and talk through it, and just he'll trust me when it comes down to it.
Hey, Christian had a nice run. I mean, it was, I think, a 49-yard run maybe in this past week. How much can the running game, I guess, help you? I mean, most people don't understand that. They think quarterbacks just want to sit back there and throw it 50 times. But I feel like the quarterbacks I've been around don't want to do that. They want the running game to click. They want the play action game to click. If you can get that running game going, get him rolling up to speed and not be on a pitch count like they've said and whatever, and kind of do that whole thing, how much can that help your team moving forward and help you personally?
I mean, he's obviously a tremendous athlete and a great weapon for us. So we just have to get him going. You know, the run game, we've shown 2 games now where we can run the ball when we want to, and we just have to do it to be able to set some of those shot plays up. And that, you know, we can't just line up and call these shot plays, these play action plays, without having a good run game, without having these power schemes going where we're getting the linebackers to flow and bite. So pass game needs the run game, and likewise, run game needs the pass. So and he can be involved in either. So we're starting to see how teams are playing him. Just in coverage in the pass game as well. So we have guys on the outside. We just have to be able to take advantage of the one-on-ones and just play matchup ball when it comes down to it.
Yeah, it seems like you guys did a great job of that, of going back and reviewing the film. And I know your comfort level with play action and being able to do that. Some quarterbacks don't like to turn their back to the defense, but your 1st and 10 play action success of where you kind of are figuring things out. And it seems like that's Ben's comfort point too in the play calling, right? I mean, when you have established run games, as AK was talking about, you get those chunk runs, or you just commit somebody that you know that Christian is so good that 1st and 10 is becoming a thing. But this week you're playing against a team that turns the ball over a ton, a quarterback that turns the ball over rapidly. Does that change your mindset at all of how you're going to go about game planning, how you go about going into a game preparation of a week like this?
I think that for us, prep wise, we got to prepare for his pressures just to eliminate the negative plays on our end. But I think, you know, when you think about it as a whole, just ending the drive with a kick somehow, whether it's a PAT, field goal, or a punt. And I think that's the mentality this week, as it should be every week, but especially going into a divisional game and one that, you know, we haven't won the turnover battle yet this year. So just trying to emphasize that, and then just don't beat ourselves, I think, is the biggest motto.
Well, Hugh Jackson once said, division games count for 2. What does that mean? Because I couldn't understand it when he said it. A couple of things he said I really never understood, but I was like, nope, I'm pretty sure it just counts as 1 win.
You add up 1 and 1, it's 2, but you play 2 division games. Does that mean it's 4 points?
Yeah, well, either way, any points are good points, right?
Don't let your dreams spoil like milk.
Yeah, I mean, it's divisional games definitely mean more. There's no question about it, right? I don't think they're more points, but they're definitely worth a little more. There's definitely a little bit more added juice. Your first taste of the NFC South, really, right? I mean, you've had 2 non-divisional games to start off the season. They are different. I mean, this game's more physical. I mean, I've played against New Orleans twice a year and seen them as a coach. Coached against them for 7 months. You know, it's you know, they definitely bring something. They got a great defense. They do a great 3rd down package. Communication is going to be key this week. So is there anything that you'll do with the offensive line, meeting wise, getting them together a little extra, getting the centers together a little extra to talk about their 3rd down package?
Yeah, we definitely will. That's something that we started to do last week, just playing Wink Martindale's defense, just to do the same thing, especially on an away trip, being on the same page when it comes to either signals or just starting points. So that's definitely an emphasis for us this week. When you go into what we've been talking about is, taking care of the ball and making sure we don't have any disastrous plays. And then it starts right there with the protection and those packages that they do bring that have so much trouble.
Yeah, it's interesting because they're one of the few teams that are pretty vanilla on 1st and 2nd down, and then 3rd down you're getting a different look every time. You don't know where the pressure's coming from. It's that 3 down stuff. Demario Davis walked up, somebody else walked up, somebody else coming. how do you guys go about identifying those matchups? Like, are you involved in that process? Is it mostly the O-line coach in terms of protections? Like, are you putting an extra emphasis on 56 this week or whoever? I mean, and then are you meeting with the O-line and trying to get that whole thing dialed down? Like, how does that work out for your team?
Yeah, I mean, we show up with kind of their thoughts on a base third down plan, just pass rush wise. And when it comes to first and second down, knowing where 56 is, knowing that they will bring their safety pressures and all that. So I think it's, for us, it's getting a handle on first and second down early in the week, much like everybody else. And then when it comes down to it, just emphasis after practice on Wednesday and before you go into it on Thursday, just having a really, really good idea of where you want to start your third down pressure packages. Like, the idea is to where everybody's on the same page. So then if you have any issues in practice, you can go back and fix it and say, hey, this is our final look. This is what we want to do with it. Let's go from there. But it's nothing set in stone, which is what I do appreciate here. Everybody's open to ideas of, let's just do what works and what makes the most sense. It's not overcomplicated. So they give us a starting point and then we can adjust from there.
I mean, I think one thing that I've actually never really asked you about, but your hat game is pretty strong, Baker.
Yeah.
What is that hat right there? Because sometimes, I mean, I love it. AQ's not really a hat guy or a fashion guy by any means. He wears the same pair of black Crocs. He's got multiple pair. Well, I mean,
watch.
I don't know how the half. I mean, that he stays in a dry fit shirt, guaranteed. Well, actually, that's the same dry fit he had on yesterday.
I was trying to make the interview look the same.
Oh,
the memo.
Sorry.
No, this is a hat. There's a musician named Mike. It's his brand. It says "Not my first rodeo" on the side. His branding is Stevenson Ranch. That's why it says SR. He calls everybody Steve. I don't know.
I kind of like it though. I like putting people on their heels, and as you both know me pretty well, like when you can kind of take the offensive and make people uncomfortable, it's a good realm to operate in.
I do admit I have a strong hat game. Plenty of hats, a lot of hats.
Yeah. What's stronger, your hat game or your shoe game?
Hat game. The hats for sure. The shoes are. I did just get a pair of Crocs though, IQ. You might like that.
I'm telling you, I was ahead of the trend. Crocs are like a big fashion deal right now, and
it came back. You stayed throughout the trend. You didn't go.
It all comes back.
right there.
Yeah. You stayed the course. Does your hat have to match your clothes, Baker? Because that's what sometimes I start getting, like, if I got like the wrong hat on and I overthink it. But I don't know. I
don't look that far into it.
I've got 4 kids. I don't really care that much. As long as my wife thinks I'm sexy, that's the only thing that matters to me.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that. No, the hat doesn't have to match the shirt. I mean, if you like the hat,
he was busting my balls the other day because he was like, I mean, could you look more like a dad right now? Could you look more like? I was like, well, I don't
Baker,
know.
we showed up for the podcast yesterday. I pulled up my car. He's sitting outside, like it's in this like
Forrest Gump on a bench,
like outdoor mall. He's sitting on a bench with his legs crossed, with like a laptop, like a hat down, and like a cup of coffee. I'm like, man,
they have a big Bluetooth. They have a big Bluetooth earpiece in.
He did. That would have really rounded out the whole fucking character outfit. I promise.
I don't know how to connect my Bluetooth, so that wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah.
Hardwire everything. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the old school like connector, like earpieces in there.
No doubt.
Oh, that's good.
Well, is your dog there? Is he there still?
No, Emily took him out for a walk. Bring him on. Need a surprise appearance next week.
All right, Baker, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck in your week 3 matchup, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and we look forward to doing it again next week.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Go get a win. Keep pounding.
Thanks, Drew.